Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below, it really helps.
All right, let's play detective for a minute. We've got a real head-scratcher of a case today. 5 totally confusing error codes that seem completely unrelated. But what if I told you they all point to one single culprit? Let's dive in and crack this case.
So, picture this. Your check engine light is on. You plug in the code reader, and oh no, it's not just one code, it's a laundry list. Your stomach drops, and all you can see are dollar signs flying out of your wallet.
You might be staring at something like this. Codes for a lean engine, a cylinder misfire, maybe even some weird sensor circuit failures. It looks like a nightmare, right? Like 3 or 4 different expensive problems. But here's the secret. It's not. These are all just symptoms of one single root cause.
So stick with me. We're going to follow the clues, connect the dots, and find the one part that's causing all this chaos. We're going to solve this thing.
Okay, first things first, we got to examine the evidence. Each one of these codes is a clue, and we need to understand what it's really trying to tell us about what's going on under the hood. So our first clues are P0171 and P0174. They both scream System Too Lean. Basically, your engine's gasping for fuel or it's getting way too much air. And since it's happening on both sides of the engine, that tells us the problem is something they share, which points a big flashing arrow right at the fuel supply. Then there's P0308, a misfire in cylinder 8. Now your first thought might be, oh, it's a spark plug or a coil, but hold on. It's actually a direct result of that fuel starvation we just talked about. See, when fuel pressure gets low, the cylinder that's farthest away from the pump is usually the first one to start sputtering. It's just not getting its fair share of fuel. Okay, so a weak fuel pump explains the lean codes and the misfire. That adds up. But what about those other codes? The ones for the fuel temperature sensor? That's an electrical problem. How in the world can a mechanical fuel issue trigger a totally separate electrical fault code? Well, my friends, this is the clue that cracks the whole case wide open.
The secret is understanding that this isn't a bunch of separate problems happening at once. It's a cascade of failure. It's a domino effect, where one thing goes wrong and takes a bunch of other systems down with it.
And here's exactly how it plays out. It all starts when the fuel pump motor starts to get weak. As it dies, fuel pressure drops everywhere. That triggers the first dominoes, the System Too Lean codes. Then, when you ask the engine for more power, the pressure drops even more, starving poor old cylinder 8 and causing that misfire code. And finally, and this is key, the struggling overheating pump starts to physically damage other little parts that are housed inside of it. And that's what triggers those electrical sensor codes. So our prime suspect is definitely the fuel pump. But every good detective needs proof, right? You need that one piece of irrefutable evidence. You need the smoking gun. And lucky for us, we've got one right in our list of codes. And that smoking gun is code P0182. I'm not kidding. This is the one. This is the clue that takes our theory from pretty likely to case closed. It's the proof we need. So what is P0182? It means fuel temp sensor circuit low input. But here's the absolute most critical detail. That sensor, it isn't just screwed onto the engine somewhere. No. It is physically located inside the fuel pump module itself, sealed up tight inside your gas tank. And circuit low input isn't some vague message. It's super specific. It means the sensor's wiring has shorted out or the sensor itself has just completely failed. This isn't a random computer glitch. It's a hard, physical, electrical failure telling us that something inside that sealed fuel pump assembly is literally broken. So there we have it. The culprit is identified, the evidence is solid. Now we can talk about the one definitive repair that's going to fix all of these problems for good. The only real solution here is to replace the entire fuel pump module assembly. I'm not talking about just a little pump motor inside it, I mean the whole shebang. The entire unit has to go. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey, can't I just swap out the pump motor itself and save a few $100? And listen, that's a totally fair question. But remember our smoking gun, that P0182 code? That code is proof positive that another part, the sensor, has also failed inside that sealed unit. So replacing the whole assembly is the only way you can be sure you're fixing the weak pump, the broken sensor, and whatever wiring got cooked in there all in one shot. So, you've got the diagnosis. What should you do right this second? Well, this is not something you want to put off. So let's run through a quick, urgent action plan. First, let's just get it out of the way. The cost.
You're probably looking at somewhere between $700 and $1,500 for this job, depending on your car. And yeah, that's a chunk of change, I know. But believe me, ignoring this will end up costing you a whole lot more.
So here's your 4-step plan. Step 1, and this is the big one. Stop driving the car. Seriously, park it. Step 2, if you can, get a fuel pressure test done to confirm. Step 3, when you call your mechanic, don't just give them the codes. Tell them the whole story about the lean codes, the misfire, and the weird sensor code. Let them know you think it's the whole module. And finally, step 4, make sure they replace the entire fuel pump module and the fuel filter while they're at it.
And if you or your shop want to be 100% certain before ordering parts, these are the tests to run. The fuel pressure test will show a big pressure drop when you rev the engine. That's the classic sign. Or if you look at live data on a scan tool, you'll probably see a crazy reading for the fuel temp, something impossible like minus 40 degrees. That's a dead giveaway. Look, I really need to stress how urgent this is. The severity level here is critical. The chance of the car just dying and leaving you stranded on the side of the road? High. The risk of doing real expensive damage to your engine by running it lean? Also high. And the odds of destroying your catalytic converters from that misfire? You guessed it, also high. You got to get this fixed.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway here? It's that a long list of what seems like totally random problems is often just a chain reaction. It's a cascade. The real trick to fixing it isn't chasing down every single symptom. It's about finding that very first domino and stopping it from falling.
And that kind of makes you think, doesn't it? This whole diagnostic approach doesn't just work for cars. How many other complicated, messy problems in your work or your life might actually boil down to a single, simple root cause if you just knew how to spot that one smoking gun clue? Something to think about.